Your Healthy Steps. And did you know that most of your body pain that you have as you're getting older and older comes from muscles. So as we live our life, our bodies, our muscles get tight because we use them. And as they get tight, they create scar tissue and adhesions. And it's that scar tissue and adhesions that really just sort of lock us down, make us feel like we're moving around with concrete in our body, basically because we are. And it is that accumulation of scar tissue and adhesions that's really causing these muscles to get angry and fire off pain. And the other downside of being tight and stiff and sore muscles is that they can wear and tear the joints of our body. That's the shoulder joints, the hip joints, the joints of the spine, because as they're tight, they're pulling on all of these joints and they're causing them to be out of the proper position and they're going to wear out. Okay, so that's the reason why I do this. I want to educate people on the importance of keeping your muscles flexible and mobile. So one, you can move freely without a lot of pain, a lot of stiffness, but also you're going to reduce the wear and tear on your joints. And so that's the reason why I do this. I love to educate people about, one, what causes them to be tight, stiff, and sore, and what happens when specific muscles get tight, stiff, and sore. And so we can say, okay, well, I have this pain, it might be this muscle, and if I work on this muscle, I can maybe reduce that pain. So that's one of the main reason why I do this. Okay, and that's why we created the online foam rolling self-care course, Purposeful Foam Rolling. That's the main reason why we did that, is so that people can also use that as a resource. So we've talked a lot about the serratus muscles. There are 3 of them in the body. We talked about the one in the front of the body, and then we talked about the one on the top of the back of the body. Now we're going to talk about number 3, the one on the lower part. And this is actually called serratus posterior because it's in the back of the body, inferior because it's on the lower back. Okay, so where's this muscle located at? Well, it really is located again on the lower back, where the last 2 vertebrae of what would be considered the upper body. It's called the thoracic. It's the last 2 of the thoracic vertebrae and the first 2 lumbar vertebrae, which are the vertebrae of the lower back. So basically right down in here. And then those muscles, the muscles are on both sides of the spine, and they branch outward and upward onto the last 9 ribs of the rib cage. So the last 9 ribs, or the last ribs, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Sorry. So I'm going to show you a real quick picture from a book. This is actually Travell's myofascial release pain and dysfunction manual. This is what we use in school. I'm just going to show you a quick picture here of that muscle, and you can sort of see it there. This is the last 2 vertebrae of the thoracic, and then the last 2, and then right up here is the rib cage, right up in there. It's helping it real close here. Oops, there we go. Okay, so kind of gives you an idea. It's coming off the vertebrae here, and then moving up onto the rib cage, and that's important because of the job that it does. Okay. So before we talk about what it does, let's see if we can find it on ourselves. Now, this is a muscle that's deeper or underneath a lot of other muscles, so it's hard to really feel. But a good way to do this is to take your hand, put it on your lower back so that the heel of your hand is on the ribs down here. Just as the ribs kind of come to the very end, you're going to put the heel of your hand there and take your fingers and put it right on your spine. So my hand is sitting like that. Oops, sorry. Yeah, like this. So my heel is on my rib cage and my fingers are on Mr. Manny's spine, just like that. And you're basically laying where that muscle is sitting at. It's difficult to feel it move. So really it's just a matter of putting your hand there and knowing that it's underneath several muscles. That's where it's at. Okay? But that's a good way to locate it. Just put your heel back there, put your fingers on your spine, and you're pretty much sitting right on top of it. Now, what does this muscle do? Well, it's on the rib cage and it's connected to the spine, so it generally helps and assists us to stand upright and to rotate. So if I twist like this, it's helping us do that. And if I'm bending over and I go to stand upright, it's helping that us to move upright, to extend our back. And it's doing that by pulling down and inward of the rib cage. It also helps with exhalation of breathing. So forced breathing out, this muscle would be involved in that also. Okay, Now, again, not many people know the serratus posterior inferior. I mean, it's not a well-known muscle, but what I want to talk about, it doesn't, every muscle in the body can create these things called hyper-irritated points, and they develop these hyper-irritated points because muscles get tight. They get tighter as we get older because we've used them and we've abused them, and they get angry. And as they do that, they can develop these things called trigger points. They're hyper-irritated points in the muscle. And when those things develop, they create pain patterns that are fairly common for each muscle. And this muscle has hyper-irritated points. It has trigger points. It has typically one. I have two X's here because I wanted to put it on both sides of the body. Okay, but it's one trigger point per muscle. But that one trigger point can create a very annoying pain pattern. So let me get a marker here. So where does this pain show up? Generally, it's an annoying, aching, nagging, aching pain. So it's not the severe pain that's going to drop you to the floor. It's just present all the time. It's nagging. It just won't go away. Okay. Well, actually, it kind of, you can do some certain things I'm going to talk about here in a minute to reduce it or make it go away, but then it comes right back. Okay. And that pain is generally here. So low back and the ribs. So pretty much wherever the muscle is, that's where you feel this pain, this nagging, aching feeling, and into the rib cage. Some people say that it will radiate to the front part of the lower chest. They'll feel it there, almost like aching pulsations toward the front, but it's fairly rare. Most people feel it right in the back, and again, it's just an aching feeling. Now, if you stretch or if you kind of get up and move around a little bit, that pain will either reduce, or that achiness will reduce or go away. But then as you go back to doing something, it kind of creeps back in there again. It just seems to always be part of your life. Now, what causes this muscle to ache like this, or to get this trigger point? Well, most of the time what happens with muscles is that they are overly tight just because we've lived our lives, we had bad posture, maybe we worked out too hard, but we didn't stretch, we didn't foam roll, we didn't take care of our muscles, and over time they just get tighter and tighter and tighter. And then we do something like bend down and twist to pick up a briefcase or a backpack or groceries, a bag of groceries. Maybe we're carrying something and we're twisted and kind of tilted. It's those type of movements, those kind of quick, jerky, drop down movements that bam, then this muscle will fire off. Okay, so generally speaking, it just didn't come out of nowhere. You have gotten tighter and tighter in the low back over, could be a couple years, and then you go and do something such as that, bending over quickly to pick up something, pulling something out of the back of the trunk of the car, and then bam, you usually will have several other muscles get angry, and even after those muscles have been taken care of and the back, really bad, serious pain that you can get with back pain goes away, this one will remain. It will stay there. And then again, it's just that ache. People will say, I had this back thing, as I did something, my back went out and I had all this pain. I went to the chiropractor, did, all this work, PT, and it's all gone, but I have this dull ache that just won't go away. It's probably this muscle, okay? So this one doesn't usually drop you to the floor. It just sticks around and becomes very annoying. But it's usually caused by you being incredibly tight in the back. All right, so what do we do about this? Well, again, I like warming this thing up. So if you're just overly tight, you've got to start the process of loosening this up. And a lot of people will just get really aggressive with it really quick, and that generally makes things tender and painful and bruised. Right? Not a lot of fun. So if you take a nice moist heat towel and lay it here and just start warming this area up from all the way down from your hip all the way up to your neck. Just warm this area up because it's all connected. Okay, and if we warm that up nice and maybe a couple applications of a nice warm moist heat pack. And then once it's nice and warmed up, take your foam roller. Here's my foam roller. Okay. And if you're new to foam rolling, and this might be a lot quite tender, here I'm going to actually pull it up a little bit there. You want to start on the wall. Okay. And you just want to put that foam roller there, and you're going to roll up and down. Okay. You can also do this on the floor. If this muscle and some of the other muscles are really, really tight, you want to start with a foam roller and then eventually move into tennis balls in a sock, something like this, because this will get deeper into the muscles. The one thing I want you to remember is that this muscle right here is on your ribs, and it's on the last ribs. These are called your floaters. I'm going to bring Mr. Bones in here. See if I can get him up here. All right, there. So right in here is where these muscles are attaching at. Where you can see these muscles, the last two, don't have anything to support them. So you don't want to be out here rolling around on something on ribs that don't have a lot of support. 9 and 10, right up here, they are connected up here, so they're much more sturdy. These are called your floaters, floating ribs, and we don't want to get out here and start rolling around out here. So you're going to keep that tennis ball up and around in this area, right up in here, closer to the spine, okay? There we go. Okay. So by getting the foam roller, you can be a little bit more lenient by kind of rotating a little bit because you're against the wall. On the floor, you want to be a little bit less aggressive because, again, more weight of your body's weight is going to be on the foam roller, okay? But I can go up and down. I can twist a little bit and just work that out. When I use the tennis balls, again, I'm going to stay right, the spine's going to be right between the two tennis balls. And then I can be a little bit more, I put a little bit more pressure on it, up and down, just like that. Okay, so we're just working out, we're looking for the trigger points with the tennis balls or the foam roller to kind of help, break that out. So we're just rolling it up and down, just like that, and getting that muscle to loosen up and release. Okay? All right, well, I hope this is helpful, and have a great day, and we will look forward to next Tuesday. I'll send out an email and a Facebook post about what we're doing next Tuesday. All right, have a great day and take care.